You might actually be tempted to ask yourself, did Aston Martin make a mistake of abandoning Mercedes as their engine supplier? That Aston Martin F1 team are struggling is no longer actually in doubt. It is something that even the team itself has confirmed, including a confirmation from their team principal Adrian Newey, saying that they are facing some challenges and struggles that are going to limit how much they can run their car during the Australian Grand Prix in Melbourne, Australia. And this is a challenge that I think has caught many people by surprise, because a lot of people had a lot of hope when it came to Aston Martin, the project that they were undertaking, and probably how they were approaching the 2026, even given the fact that they actually had abandoned the 2025 project to focus on 2026. But it's becoming clear that probably that actually has not come out or materialized the way they would have wanted. And one of the questions that everyone probably is asking, or if you are to analyze this situation a little bit more critically from a business point of view, you might actually be tempted to ask yourself, did Aston Martin make a mistake of abandoning Mercedes as their engine supplier? This is because most of the issues that they're actually talking about relate to their engine supplier order. And it seems that probably when you look at it in hindsight, moving away from Mercedes as an engine supplier to Honda as an engine supplier probably was not the right decision at that particular time. And probably there are people within the team who are wishing that they had not made that decision. If this is the first time that you and I are meeting, I am Joe, and on this YouTube channel, I talk about Formula One and the business of Formula One. And I would really appreciate if you would consider subscribing to this YouTube channel. And the reason why probably this is something that needs further interrogation is when you look at a time when Aston Martin have been partnering with Mercedes, they have not had issues like the ones they have at this particular moment, because this situation is actually very bad. To get to a point where the team and the car is limited to only running 25 laps in Australia, when you consider the race is actually a 58 lap race, that points to a very huge problem. And I don't think that there was ever a time when they were using Mercedes engines that they had to abandon a race or not complete a race because of some of the issues related to the engine supplier. And while all blame cannot probably be put on Honda, because I think there are also some issues within Aston Martin itself and other components that make the car, you cannot be able to ignore the fact that there is a huge relation between the problem that they're having at the moment and the fact that they have Honda as an engine supplier. And a lot of people have gone back to a time when McLaren were also having similar issues when they were using Honda. And I think what is becoming clear, or what has been pointed out, is, for example, they don't have a lot of parts in Australia. They only have two batteries, and what that means is that if anything was to happen to the batteries that they have, they basically would not have any parts that would replace that, and that already is a limiting issue. And of course, other issues related to vibrations, which they are working on, as well as the fact that the bigger problem is that those vibrations can actually become a safety and health concern for the drivers, which is why they are going to only run for a limited number of laps, specifically up to 25 for Fernando Alonso and probably only 15 for Lance Stroll. It is clear that Aston Martin are starting the Formula One season in 2026 on a back foot, which can only mean that this season is going to be very long for them, because they need to get on top of the issues that they have. I am not sure that they can be able to do that in the next couple of races, but at least everyone hopes that they can be able to solve this problem and probably start securing points and stop running on the back of the grid, because this is very serious. I think a lot of people have been shocked by how bad this situation is when it comes to Aston Martin. When you consider that they have some of the best people that you can have in the sport, it of course raises a lot of questions as to whether they have been able to assemble a team of stars, but then the underlying infrastructure and the technology and all the partners involved are unable to deliver on the promise that they had. And of course, given the investment that have been made by the investors, as well as all the infrastructure that they have been able to build to get to this particular point, it is very worrying that they are still struggling at the level that they are at the moment. And I guess one of the issues that has come out clearly is that Honda may not have been as well prepared for this transition as many had hoped. And I think Katie Janui, the team principal for Aston Martin, even mentioned about it, that they only got about 30% of the personnel from Honda who were previously working in Formula One. And that's already a major problem. And then there has been other revelations that, they started to understand some of these things probably very close to the start of the Formula One season in 2026. Meaning that I think there is quite a bit of issues when it comes to the whole organization and how Honda and Aston Martin are working together, and probably does not look good when they start blaming each other on some of the issues that they are currently facing. This is going to be it on this particular video. I hope you have found some value and that you have enjoyed this one. Watch the video on your screen right now, subscribe to this YouTube channel if you have not, and I'm going to see you in my next video.